honestly, when I cut my hair, I was like, oh my God, people are going to think I look like a boy. Like, there was just so many insecurities that came along with having to cut my hair.
At the gate, yeah. God don't make no mistakes. Watch your fate, bruh. Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Jaleesa, aka It's Just J Renee, and this is My Life Interrupted. So today is February 28th, 2024, and on this Saturday, I get to ring the bell for the end of chemo. That's right, you heard me. The end of chemo is finally here. So I wanted to share how I even got to having chemo, even after having cancer removed after the Whipple surgery. So once the surgery was over, my surgical oncologist, Dr. Wong, he told me that whether or not I had chemo was going to be based on what they found when they removed lymph nodes and the ampullary cancer. So in surgery, I had 32 lymph nodes removed along with the ampullary cancer, and 2 out of the 32 lymph nodes the cancer had spread to. So when I went to follow up with my medical oncologist, which is Dr. Craig DeVoe, he said that, we're going to move forward with chemo. Prior to surgery, he told me that, basically, he had a plan already for what kind of chemo, like he was prepping me, but mentally I was like, I don't want to do chemo, and I'm like, mentally I was praying, like, God, please don't let me have to go through this. But, once I got to the appointment, he was like, just to be safe, we want to make sure that we've killed every cancer cell. So we're going to move forward with chemo. But the original plan that he had for me, he changed it, which I love this plan even better. Because before it was going to be like 1 week you go to the treatment center, and then the next week I would basically be on chemo every week. And he was like, he didn't think that was necessary. So he put me on the 5FU as well as the oxali plan. With chemotherapy, we know it attacks the bad cells, but it also attacks the good cells. So I had to mentally prepare myself based on the symptoms that they were telling me I was going to have. I had to mentally prepare myself to deal with it, which wasn't easy. The doctor originally wanted to start chemo like the week of the 20th, but my little brother was getting married. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not missing my brother's wedding. Because he was like, oh, well, it has to be 2 months after surgery. My surgery was July 28th. And I was like, well, my surgery was originally supposed to be this date. But remember, we had to delay it a week. So it ended up being this date. So I was able to go to my brother's wedding. A part of the process for chemo is you have to get a port put in. Now my port is located right here. I had to take off of work and go in because they were going to put me under anesthesia to put the port in because it goes under their skin. It doesn't really bother me, but in order to, at first, I was so aware of it. Now I don't notice it until my nieces or nephews are laying on my chest. But the port was put in, that only took 2 hours. And honestly, anesthesia didn't affect me that much. I could have went to work, but my mom is a nurse. She's like, you just need to go home and rest. So the port was put in, and then the week of the port being put in, I had the port put in on a Monday. That Thursday, I started the whole process for chemo. Chemotherapy was a total of 12 sessions over the course of 6 months. The nurses, they encouraged me. They're like, during this process, you can be around friends, you can be around family. You just have to make sure that you're not getting sick. I had to apply for FMLA because I had originally planned that I was just gonna go to chemo, go home and sleep. But after dealing with 2 sessions of chemo, I realized, I don't want to use all my PTO. I honestly would rather travel. And so 2 weeks after the first 2 sessions, by session 3, I was going to chemotherapy and then going to work. I worked Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday is when I would use to recover. So the type of chemo that I had, it was you go in on Thursday, they send you home with a take-home chemo pump, and literally had to walk around the house with the port here for 46 hours. Then I go in on Saturday, get unhooked. Sometimes we'd go food shopping and then I go straight home to go to sleep, because I honestly, chemotherapy took a lot out of me physically. The first 2 weeks I was fine physically, but by the 3rd week, everything started to hit me. I started to feel symptoms of neuropathy with the tingling of the hands, cold sensitivity. They told me to stay away from cold beverages, so out front, I did not drink anything cold. I literally have a cart of warm like juices sitting. I was juicing before I started chemo, so Trader Joe's has these juices that I would drink for breakfast. Really good. And like if I wanted lemonade, I have to put it in the microwave. You have to find a balance, because I'm like with my mom, so she can't. I can't change everything just because I'm going to chemo. So I would have to adapt. I found gloves online that helped me be able to touch things in the refrigerator. So I was grateful for that. I found it on Amazon. I'll link it in the description. So if you are dealing with neuropathy and you are still cooking and moving around, but you know you're sensitive to cold, you can purchase these gloves. They helped me out a lot when it came to cooking and just touching things that are cold. So when I started chemotherapy, nausea really was the biggest symptom for me, because it would prevent me from eating. So my weight was fluctuating up and down. Tomorrow, thank God, is going to be the last Thursday that I have to go through chemo. Usually by Mondays or Tuesdays, I will recover my appetite. Sometimes I can eat meals, sometimes I can't during the first few days. So I just go to soup. Soup helps me keep everything down, the nausea, the bile. I'm still recovering from Whipple. So of course, some of the symptoms that I would go through occasionally when I feel nauseous would be attributed to the Whipple. And I had to learn, like, what is the chemo and what is the Whipple. As you can see, I have cut my hair again, because towards the end of treatment, once they took me off the oxaliplatin, my hair started falling out. I was devastated that it was thinning. It wasn't, like, my hair is still thick. If you can see, my hair is still thick. It's giving Mia from Best Man's Holiday right now. I just make sure, because cutting my hair, I did cut my hair before chemo, which you'll see. Because they did warn me that I may experience thinning, and I was already dealing with issues with my hair from my thyroid. So I was like, you know what, I'll just cut it a little low, but it wasn't this low. And honestly, when I cut my hair, I was like, oh my God, people are gonna think I look like a boy. Like, there was just so many insecurities that came along with having to cut my hair, especially since I grew up in I went to a predominantly white school, and all the girls had long hair, and Black women were always seen as masculine and not feminine enough. So I had to do my best to keep that femininity, because I did not want to be seen as a masculine woman. No offense to anyone else, but I just, that's not my brand. I'm very feminine, very like caring and giving. So I wanted to make sure that even though my hair was short, that I was presenting myself in a way that I was like really comfortable with. But I'll get to that in another vlog to show you like how I dressed and everything throughout chemo, because I did go to chemo dressed up every week. Fur coat, hats. I had outfits that like would show the port, make it easy for the nurses to access my port, which they loved. They raved every week. Like, oh my God, I love your shirt. You make it so much easier for us, because they were saying like some people wear hoodies and like turtlenecks, and I'm like, we still have to access your port. So before chemo, I just bought a bunch of shirts, and I'm like, they gotta be able to access this, and I don't want to have to remove my clothes. So went on Fashion Nova and found a bunch of outfits. Like I said, I'll talk about it in another vlog. With chemotherapy, you have to go in the morning, get tested, because they have to clear you. And the testing consists of testing your iron, your white blood cell counts, all these other things. I can honestly say that going to chemotherapy every week, I never had an issue throughout this whole process. I haven't gotten sick, wasn't in no hospitalizations, which has been a blessing, because I know there are some people that are going through chemo and may have to experience all those things. One of the things that I did do during chemo was I drank a lot of honey citron tea. Honey citron tea fights infections. I love Korea, love the food, love the culture. Went to school, one of my good friends is Korean, she was my roommate, and I remember her having this tea. I should always drink it. So this is honey citron tea, fights infections. I've never had the vid. When other people were getting sick around me during chemo, because I would go to church, I never got sick. I'm not saying that this cures the vid, just want to display, but it has helped my immune system greatly, because when other people are getting the flu, whatever, I've never gotten sick. So I'm grateful to God. Tomorrow, chemo, I'm not feeling sick right now, definitely will be cleared. They prick your finger, they pull the blood from your finger, which you'll see in future vlogs, the process. And then I have to be weighed, I have to be pre-medicated. Before they remove the oxaliplatinum, I think I was there from 8 to about 1 o'clock. Then I would go home to work for maybe about 3 to 4 hours. It's just been a long process. I'm so happy to be ringing the bell on Saturday. I hope that my journey encourages those who are struggling with chemotherapy, like they can find some peace of mind through my process. Like I said, positivity in other videos, positivity you definitely have to have. If you go into dealing with chemotherapy and cancer and surgery with a negative attitude, it's just gonna bring you down. You're gonna feel hopeless. I was hopeful through this whole process. At first, when I was diagnosed with ampullary cancer, it was like my life flashed before my eyes, and I felt like I wouldn't be able to see my nieces and nephews grow up. But I had to change that mindset quickly. It was a quick change in mindset. After listening to music, I was like, you know what? No, we're not gonna be defeated. I'm gonna get through this. It has been a blessing to be able to work full time and still be surrounded by friends and family. I did not sit at home during chemotherapy. I went out my off weeks. I would spend time with family, spend time with friends. I went to visit my Aunt Bernice a few times. I couldn't stay long because she is in the home, but I did go and visit her, make sure I cooked her dinner, dropped off food. Anything that I could do to contribute to help my family and friends. I hosted dinner for my cousin. I was doing, because I was like, you know what? I'm still gonna live. I'm not gonna sit around at home, because at first I thought I would just be home quarantined, staying away from people because it's winter time. I was like, you know what? No, I can engage with people. Went to a onesie slumber party for New Year's Eve. I didn't get sick, surrounding myself with family and friends. All of my friends have been 100% supportive and positive and have poured into me through this whole process, which I am truly grateful for. I just want to say that if you are going through this cancer or another illness, just surround yourself with positive people. And I know there are some people that are going through that they have nobody. Listen, you can hit me up on Instagram. My IG is jrenee marketing. you can message me. I'm gonna be encouraging because I'm all about uplifting and empowering people. I thank you so much for tuning in. This was a short episode. I hope it was very informative, and just again know that even though you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, there is still hope. I am a living witness. God has blown my mind through this entire process, because I thought when I got sick I would be alone, and He's just showed me that I'm not alone. I still have friends from elementary school, high school, college, like my family and my friends. There's gonna be on Saturday when I ring the bell about 37 to 40 people joining me. We're all gonna go out for a brunch after, and I'm just so excited. So thank you so much for tuning in to My Life Interrupted. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and again, until next time, bye.
At the gate, yeah.